Hello everyone, welcome back. In my last two videos, we have discussed how we can reutilize the legacy code in our RAP application. For that, either we have to create the unmanaged RAP application or we can create the managed RAP application along with the additional save and unmanaged save. This managed RAP application along with the additional save and the unmanaged save that I have already explained in part 32 and 31. Today what we will do, we'll try to understand the theory part of that, and we will start with the unmanaged transactional app as well. We will understand the what kind of unmanaged transactional app we are going to develop now and what is the legacy code is available with us, and based on we start with this video. Let's jump into the system. We will just go through my last application which we have created to go what we have actually done in form of the manage with unmanaged save and manage with additional save. So what we did, if you remember from my last application, which is pretty long, so we were having the base table, we were having Y travel taken, Y booking taken, and Y booking supplement taken. On top of three table, because these are the transactional table, we want to create the one business object. So as you know already, business object consists of the one is the model, data model, another one is the behavior, and third one is the runtime implementation. The data model we created in form of the interface use, YI travel taken, booking taken, and YI booking supplement taken. And for behavior we created in the YI travel taken behavior definition on top of our root travel. As you know, on top of root only we can create the behavior definition. We created the base BO. In the base BO, we did the implementation as well for our behavior YI travel taken in the YBB travel taken class. In this class we were having the, as I told you, third part, runtime implementation. The runtime implementation, there are two things. One is the behavior handler class and second is the behavior saver class. So it depends again. So if I click YBP travel taken, so we were having in the local types, one was the one we are inheriting from the behavior saver that will take care of the save part, and one which we are having in the behavior handler which is handling the transactional part. So runtime processing consists of three parts. One is the transactional phase, second is the transactional buffer where we are saving data intermediately, third is the save sequence. We will try to understand this part little bit in practical way today. On top of this base BO, we created the consumption 2 application we created, one for the processor, another for the approver. Processor, what we did, YC travel taken, YC booking taken, and YC booking taken supplement. We projected the base CDS or base BO. We created this particular three consumption views, and we created for this travel taken we created the behavior definition YC travel take up projection behavior definition. This is the one application. Another application we created for the approver, that we are projecting only two base BOs, YC travel approver M and YC booking approval M, along with we created the YC travel approver M projection behavior. So two applications we have created and we saw the result as well. My main focus, why we revised this one, so what we did in the last video, just we want to revise. Now the question is that what actually how the transactional buffer, which I want to explain in the practical way how it is working. If you went in my handler class, I never used in my handler class any statement which will save the data in the database, which will process the data in the database. Which statements process the data in the database? Insert, update and modify table from this particular table or work area, which we use in ABAP normally. Those statements I have never used. If you see throughout this particular in the behavior handler class, I never used. For the early numbering also we are doing something, we are getting the number, and for example early numbering for the case by for the booking also we did, there also we are getting the number. Accept travel, we are accepting the travel, we are not modifying the directly YI travel taken table. Instead of modifying directly table, I'm just modifying the transactional buffer using modify entities statement, EML statement. These EML statement only modify the transactional buffer. If you once this statement execute, if you go and see the yi travel table when your breakpoint is here, it never modify directly yi travel table. It's just modify the transactional buffer in between which is available before the save sequence. It just modify there. It will never persist the data in this particular table. So whatever we are doing in this handler class, always try to modify the transactional buffer. I didn't explain that before that because most of guys will get confused. After the theory part, I want to explain. That is the reason I am explaining. For example, copy travel also, we copied the data. Here also we are using the modify entities statement. It will not do anything at the database table level. If you go and see the data after executing this statement, go and see the database and tables, there will be no data. But once this is done and when you click on create button or accept table, you will be able to see in the table as well the data. But it will not happen at this point of time due to this statement. Once everything is done, all the data is saved in the transactional buffer, then the save sequence method will be triggered. As I explained in my previous video, I will try to show you guys now also. That is the reason I have some of the things. So once you do all the transactional buffer is done, now come all the things to the save sequence. So whatever you did in the transactional buffer, that is separate, and after that transactional buffer, whatever you will do, that you will do in the save method. That is the reason I explained this entire thing, that a lot of things will be executed during the save sequence. This is the save sequence runtime. Transactional things also I will explain in the same way, but at this point of time the save sequence is very important. So here also we are doing a lot of calling the methods, call finalize method, or after that we have some implementation of the determinations that we are calling, a validation we are having that we are calling check before save. These all methods we are calling here in the save sequence. This is early phase of the save sequence. Here still you can modify the data, means in the transactional buffer you can't, here still you can't save the data in the database. In the save sequence also, early phase of the save sequence, we call this one. In my theory part we call most of the time early save sequence. So these all are the methods. Method finalize hai, check before save, validations are there, or determinations are there. These all the method which we are going to implement in unmanaged scenario, or we implement it for the managed scenario also. This all come part of the early phase of the save sequence. Here also we can't do anything database operation. We can't persist the data in the database. But in the late phase, after the point of no return, we say there you can write database operations. You can write insert database table, update database table. You can persist the data in the database. So that is the reason if you come to practical in the same thing, these all things in the handler class we did at the transactional buffer level. But if you see the saver class, one of the method we have implemented save modified method. In this save modified method, we read the data and we use the insert statement to persist the data in the log table in case of the additional save. Because this is the late save sequence, late save phase, because save modified method, if you see again in the PPT, it will be called during the late save sequence. You can write here in this adjust number method save modified method, you can write here database operation as well. That is a very important thing. That is the reason any function module which we are having, which is consisting, or we say the update function module or BAPs, which will be actually having this database operations, you can call only during the save sequence runtime. You can't call before that. You can't call during the actions, determinations. If you try to call those BAPs function module, which is having those database statements which will persist the data in the database, it will clearly give the dump, or it will give the error if you are using the restrictive mode. So that is the very important thing, because everything what you can write or what you can't write, that handled by the framework. You don't have much control over there. Where you have to write, they have given space. You can write those things here, whatever you want to do. Those BAPs which is having those operations, you can write here. One more thing, those BAPs function modules should not have any commit work. Even you are doing here, You can call, obviously you can call, instead of this insert statement which I have shown you, you can call one function module and update function module, which is you are having. You can call that function module and you can update the database, no problem. But that function module, anyway, update function module not have commit work, but some function module Buffy which is having commit work, that also you can't call. Commit work will be done by the framework. That after this process, once everything is done, the commit work will be done in next step here, execute commit work. That is by the framework. Before that you can't do. That is the only one place the commit work is done. That is also done by framework. Whatever you want to do before that you can do, but you can't write anything commit work here. So that's not possible to write the commit work here in the RAP. So this is why I want to explain here. Even you return this statement, insert statement, that will also not persist the data in the database. If you watch my SAP LUW concept videos, there I have explained, this statement execution will not make sure that your data is updated in database. Once the commit work will happen, the SAP LUW will be closed and all the data will be updated together in the database. So before commit work, even you write the insert statement, it will not update the data in the database. After this everything run, this method will save, modified method will be executed here, then it will come to the execute commit work statement, then it will update in the database. And if something goes wrong here in method save, and it will be just give the runtime error if you try to come out. There is no other way to try to come out with your existing data. One way is there, I will try to explain. We can return the failed messages. We have to change our save handler class. This class we have to change. Instead of CL ABAP behavior saver, we have to use CL ABAP behavior saver failed. That time we will fill the failed structure. I have to explore that thing. I will try to show you those things in the unmanaged scenario. So this I just want to explain in the practical way. We did practical way, but that time I didn't explain. I just want to explain this all the statement, insert, update, insert or delete, whatever you are doing. This we are doing in case of the additional save. We are calling the save modify method, always call either in the additional save or you have additional unmanaged save. For example, unmanaged save in the managed application, then only it will be called. In this case we do both the things we have. For one entity we have any additional save, for travel entity we have the additional save, and for the booking supplement entity we have the unmanaged save. That is the reason I have explained in both way. Based on the condition you can use both the condition. Here you can write insert, update, or you have update function module existing, you can call, but those update function modules should not have commit work. That is one statement. And again, whatever you want to call in the during the handler phase, you can call everything here, but those should not have any database modify statements. One thing, that those should not have commit work. You can use any legacy code, but those legacy code should not consist any database update statement when you are writing those in our handler phase. In this which class, in this class which is inheriting from this handler class, there you can't call those one if they consist of the commit work or any database operations. Apart from that you can call, but before calling you have to whitelist them. Whitelist means those should be C1 released. To make that C1 release, you make sure even you are working in on-premise system, try to release them. Just we have to do one ATC check extra. ABAP cloud, you just have to right click and control shift F2 run as ATC ABAP ATC cockpit with, and there is one variant is there, ABAP cloud development default or ABAP cloud development. You should use this variant and run this one, and you will get lot of error if you are not complying the ABAP cloud development practices, and you will fix those error and release with the C1 release for cloud use, and then you can use those function modules in between your method for the validation also, authorization check also, anywhere you want to use, but before that you have to make them whitelisted. Now let's come to our application unmanaged scenario which we are going to discuss. Unmanaged transactional app. Unmanaged transactional app, when we have to create, when we have a lot of existing code. But how to identify that existing code is useful or not, we will going through see in this particular application which we are going to create. We understood the basic concept overall, but here we will try to see real time. In unmanaged application, when you create, only the BO frame is provided. You have provided like where you have to write for the create operation, where you have to write for the update operation, where you have to write for the read and delete operations. Those methods is provided. You go and write whatever the way you want to write, but you have to follow RAP constraints. You should not write there any modify delete statement. You should not write any commit work, because these are in the transactional phase. That methods will be provided. You can write whatever you want to do. This transactional buffer must be provided handled by the application developer. Now, since RAP have given you two chance, in many scenario you can't write any code in the create, update, delete. Those methods is not available at all. So that is done by RAP framework. The development is done by the RAP framework. They are internally managing that. But in this scenario, since we are telling we want to do create, read, update, and we want to update the transactional buffer, that is very important thing. We want to update, we have already function module which updates the transactional buffer or some buffer data, and from there in the final sequence we have some save method as well, save function module as well, that is picking the data from there and that is updating in the final in the database. That kind of function module is available. Most of the scenarios it's not there, but it can be there, because it depends what kind of legacy code you are having. In that scenario, I want to cover almost all the things, reutilization thing, what we can reutilize, almost all the scenario. If I try to call any BAP and function module, in that case I can't reutilize anything. But here I try to show you, I took again the demo example which show, because that is covering the most of the scenario. That is the reason we will take some custom scenarios also. But again, this we are developing in BTP. I want to make sure that when guys practice, they have the freely available system. So that is the reason I can show you something in the on-premise system as well, or where I can rent out the system, but people will be not able to practice. The main concern is we have to understand the concept. Once we understand the concept, we can apply those concepts in our custom application as well. The thing is that we have something legacy code is available in form of this particular function group. We have some function modules which will save the data actually on the application server in the buffer table, and we have the update function module also, which pick up the data from this particular buffer table and the save finally in the database. We have the interface also, which is having the most of the define the global types, and which is we have one exception class also, existing exception class, which is raising most of the error messages. So this kind of already some guy who predict the future and develop that kind of thing. But most of the scenario it is not there, I'm saving, but some of the parts can be there. For example, at least saver part is there, then you can utilize managed application with unmanaged save. If you have not saver part, but you have the create, update, delete, those transactional buffer thing is there, which is saving the data in the transactional buffer, then you can utilize those methods as well in the unmanaged scenario. So let's jump into the system and see all the existing thing, and based on this we will create our model. But before going that, what we want to create actually, I just want to show you the actual application. It will be not much differ from managed scenario. Managed application, we will be creating same kind of application. We will be having the travel route, we will be having the booking, both are having the transactional thing. This time we will not add this booking supplement thing, because the application become longer. We just want to understand the unmanaged concept, and those will be connected to the master data CDS entities, and we will try to create one data model out of that. But this data model will be created based on this above available classes, methods, function modules which we want to reutilize. First, just we want to go into the system. We want to see one by one all the things. First, we will see our existing code which we are going to utilize in my particular this application. So we have already one class called demo CL flight legacy, which I have already shown you in the PPT. So if you open this particular class, this class basically will have all the code which we want to reutilize, but we want to make sure that this code really we can reutilize or not. For that purpose, we have opened this class. Let me see this class. This class have one interface. If I open this particular interface, I can see all the type declarations which we are going to use as part of this particular class. They are going to use it as part of this particular implementation. We have some constants as well, and they have some types again. Then the class method get instance. I think this is for the getting the instance of this particular class. I think they use the singleton pattern, since this is the static method I can see, and they are sending this particular same class object using this particular get instance method. So if it is already in that particular part of program, you have initialized that particular instance, it will not give you new instance, it will return the same instance. They are using the singleton pattern of the object oriented. Then they have set status booked method, they have create travel method, update travel, delete travel, get travel, adjust number, save, initialize and convert message. These all are the public section. These all are the methods we can see. Let me go one of the create travel method. I can see they are referring the type of demo as travel in. Let me open this particular structure. So it includes the travel key and travel data. If I further include the travel data, these are the fields are there, and the travel key, I think only the one field, that is called the travel. So this is the structure they are having. So we have to make sure for our case these all are the fields are enough or not before utilizing this particular create travel method. And if you open this create travel method, what they are doing actually inside this one, we have to make sure this create travel method is we have to call in our transactional phase, or we have to call in the let's see sequence. That we will decide based on that. If this method have some database operations, we can't call this particular method in our transactional phase. So we have to make sure, we have to find out each and every statement or search out that this particular code which I am going to reutilize, this should not have any database operation, direct database operation which is persisting the data in the database. Those operations should not be available in this particular method. Then only I can call this particular method during our transactional phase. And this obviously this should not have any commit work. If you, as soon as you see the commit work, just drop the idea to reutilize the method if it is a standard one. If it is the custom one, you can still adjust that code and reutilize. So that should commit work should not have that in each and every entity which you are going to use. Entity means any function module, class method, anything which you are reutilize in our RAP. So I can see here they have some numbering. Obviously in your code there will be no, until unless it is the recent code which is developed by SAP, you will be not having some numbering concept like this. But this is again demo scenario, it is thinking like that we have each and everything is available, we want to reutilize. So they are just checking the either the numbering mode is early or late. It should be have some value, then only you proceed further, otherwise you should not proceed further. So if you see the interface of this particular method, it's accepting the travel detail, not only travel detail, it is accepting the booking and booking supplement detail and the numbering mode as well, which we have to pass, and default numbering mode is the early. If you don't pass anything, it will take as a early, and other things are optional, and travel is mandatory. And it is exporting back the data, travel data, booking supplement and messages. So this is the method we can reutilize to create not only the travel, we can create the booking as well, and we can create the booking supplement as well. All things together we can create, as I can see. But if I go further, but what else this particular method is doing, so I can see it is all the logic is written in this LCL travel buffer. This is the local class of this particular global class. This is the global class, and we have the local class also. If you open the get instant method, it will open the local types. Inside this local class LCL travel buffer, they have again the get instance method. This is again the singleton pattern they are using. If you already initialize, then they are sending the instance back. Let me come back one step back, and inside this class only we are using the chaining operator. We got the instance, and using that instance we are calling the CUD preparation step. CUD means create, update, delete preparation step. What they are doing inside this one, they have the travel data. Obviously is part of input. They are getting the travel, booking and booking supplement data which they want to create, so update and delete. So in this case we are doing the create operation, so that is the reason we will send only the create data. So we are looping through the travel table. They are looping through the travel table. Not only they are getting the travel, they are getting the travel X as well. If you see the CUD prep interface, and if you do F2 over here, they are getting the travel X, delete check, numbering mode. These are the things they are, and delete check is the optional. Other two are mandatory. So travel, they are getting the basic travel data. Travel X, they are sending the data to thing. If you see the types of travel X, F2, it's sending basically we have to send the travel ID, what action you want to perform, what is the agency ID, and all other detail. The action code is not part of our normal travel data. So they are utilizing the demo travel transactional table, you can say. This is the travel ID and agency ID, other details which we have to create. Based on that, we have to create, I think, our base BO, business object. We have to utilize this travel table, and we have to create our model. So like that I can think it out. If I want to do the creation of this the same, I want to update the data in this particular same table. So like that you have to analyze, and further I can see what they are doing. In this, they are looping through the data, and they are just making sure that travel for each and every travel entity, there should be data in the travel X as well. And based on the operation on the travel X, they either you want to do the create, update, or delete, what operation on which travel instance you want to do. They are dividing the data in the three part: LT travel C, LT travel U, and LT travel delete. So I can see this CUD preparation not only doing the create, it is doing the create, update, and delete, all three operations. So this will be called not only in the create method, the same method will be called from this local class through the global class for the update and delete as well. So here we have the create. Again, they are internally calling the create, where they are passing only the create table. When they are doing the update operation, they are passing the update table, and they have delete operation also. They are passing only the delete table, so which they have divided here. If I go further in this particular local class create method, I can see, so they are looping through the data. They copied the data in one another internal table, looping through the data, and they are doing some checks. If I click on the checks, they are checking the agency ID, customer ID. Inside that, I think they are getting the data from the agency table and validating the data. So they are doing the same for the customer, dates, status, and currency. So in this case, during the create operation itself, they are doing the validation as well. So as I can see, we no need to write the separate validation step, because all the validations they are doing in the create step also, create step only. So we no need to write this all separate validation, and we have to make sure if we can call this method in our transactional phase. So as of now, I can see we are using some database read only. We are not updating, deleting, and what we can say modifying the database. Any database operations I can't see as of now. Let me come back. So in the check, so basically they are checking the data. Let me alt left button you have to press to get previous step. You can see the shortcuts coming. It is very useful when you go back and forth in the classes and in your application code. Once I have checked everything is fine, this is something goes wrong, I'm deleting that travel ID. I will not gonna proceed further for that particular, and for that particular travel there will be some messes in the ET messes. They are going further and making sure this particular LT process should not be initial. This should have some data which will go further to create, update and delete operation, because we did all the checks are validated. So they are doing the during create, update, delete operation itself. In this method itself they are doing all the checks. So you no need to write the separate validation step. That is again another advantage if we are going to use the create method. Again we have numbering mode. If they have the late numbering, they have separate process. If they have early numbering, which we have discussed in managed scenario, so this time we will go with the late numbering. In the early numbering, they directly call this CL number range runtime number get method of the demo travel like we did in early numbering, but this time we are going to utilize the late numbering thing. What they are doing in the late numbering, just they filled the created by, last change by and status, and the just GV last number they updated with the new number, and they given the temporarily travel ID as a GV last late number. So they have created internally some temporary travel ID and they updated this data in empty create buffer2 table. They didn't update any data operation. They are inserting this data into internal table, not the database table. So as of now we are fine because nothing database operation is happening till now. So internal table obviously you can update in the transactional phase, but not the database tables. Now we are not going to use else part. This all the things we have else part one we already discussed in managed scenario early numbering, and like that they did this create operation. Let me come back one step more back. In same way they are doing the update also and delete also. So you can go through these methods also, same thing they are happening. They are doing the same thing. They are doing the updating the data here and the deleting the data, but there is no database operation. They are updating the buffer table, that buffer_2 table, as I have shown you. And they have messages also. If something goes wrong, they have messages, and that messages they are passing back to in ET messages. Let me come back one step back. So like that, they have called the CUD preparation step, and based on this they got the travel data back and ET message data. Because we need only travel data, we are passing the travel data. That is the reason they got back only the travel data, not the booking and booking supplement data. Then once they got back the data, they are just checking they are working with one instance only. And second thing, if there is some message, it is not initial. It is initial, then we are fine, means we didn't get any error. If there is some error, then we are coming back, means we should not proceed further if we have some error. So ET message should be initial, then only we are going for the booking and booking supplement. Again in the booking also they are doing the create operation only, but this time CUD preparation step they are passing for the, here they are passing the booking data, and in the booking supplement step they are passing the again CUD preparation step, but this time they are passing the booking supplement data. So in the create, not only they are doing create for the travel, they are doing for the booking and booking supplement as well. So like that they have written the code. We are fine with that code as of now because they are not doing any database operation. We can call this code in our transactional phase. Then they have some message. If message is initial, they are doing some determine operation, but because basically this is nothing, this is the determinations. So we don't need to write the separate determinations. They are doing the determination. If travel ID is not initial and booking ID is not initial, they are doing the determining the total price, which we have done in managed scenario ourselves. We have already available code. We can reutilize the travel total price based on the travel booking and booking supplement prices. To go and see this code, nothing, the same code they have written. which we have written during the many scenario. They are updating the total price based on the travel booking and booking supplement. They are taking the price, converting in the same currency, and putting the data again in buffer. So you have to make sure they are every time modifying only buffer2 table till now. So once they modified the data, if there's some error, they are getting the message, and they got the message back here as well. ET message, which is they are modifying. If ET message is initial, means we didn't get till now any error. In case of this, we are gonna call this one. If there is some error, then we are gonna call this method. If you go this methods, they are clearing the buffer2 tables. Update buffer2 table, create buffer2 table, and delete buffer2 table, which is the buffer table which we have saved the data during our transactional phase. If something goes wrong and we have some error. In case if we don't have any error, they are going through the CUD copy operation. Here I think CUD disk means discarded. CUD copy means they finally make sure that buffer is okay. They are taking all the data from buffer2 and they are saving those data in the buffer. If you see this buffer2 and buffer2 is the temporary buffer and buffer1 is the main buffer. They are using like that. Let me come back. So that is from the temporary buffer, they took the data and they put in the main buffer table, internal table, not the database table. So internal table, they put all the data in there. Still they didn't use any save method. Once everything is done, let me come back again, one step back. So these things are done in during the create. Okay, let me go again. So during the create means in this create travel thing. Same way they have update travel also or delete travel also. Let me go back little bit up to understand. So we understand till now the create travel. In the update travel also they have the same thing. This time they are calling the same CUD preparation step, same travel button, but the operation is different. This time they are using the update operation. And in this and that they are passing in travel X table and doing the same thing. They have some messages, they are doing the message update, they are calling the booking supplement for the update, and finally they are doing those saving the data in the buffer. This all the messages are initial. Again they have called for the booking supplement and booking, and finally those things they are doing in the update as well, and they are doing for the these all the things they are doing for the delete as well. So as of now we can see till now we are okay, but till now we see that didn't call any database operation. That means this create travel I can call this method in my transactional phase, update travel I can call in my transactional phase, delete travel I can call in my transactional phase, and get travel basically it is reading data I can call. But adjust number also I can call as I see, but adjust number we can't call. If you see the adjust number method, I think they are updating the data adjust number. If they are updating only buffer, then we are okay. They are just updating buffer. This also we can call if you want to call in if you want to call in the transactional phase, but we will see how to do. But we have one save method as well. Then when they are saving the data, I think in this save method they are saving the data. So they are getting the saved method. If I call for the travel booking and booking supplement and I open this one, you can see that so making sure that buffer2, which is the temporary table which we have, should not have any data. It should be cleared and data already updated in main buffer, and the main buffer should have some data, and they are doing assert this main this have some data, and they have late numbering bounding if they are doing the late numbering, and they are doing the insert update delete on the database table. So this method obviously we can't call during the transactional phase because they are doing the database operation on the database tables. So we can call this method during the save sequence, that also in the late save sequence, either in the save modified method or in the modified method of the save sequence or adjust number method, because this contain the insert update delete database operations. So this is the way we have to analyze the existing code. That's very important. If you want to analyze the existing standard code as well, you have to see each and everything. That should not be data operation if you want to call that particular part of code in your transactional buffer, and it should not have commit work. As soon as you find anywhere commit work, this is updating again the direct database table, but they don't have commit work. That's how you have to make sure. If they have, after that they have written commit work, then also we can't reutilize that code. Otherwise, if you have some custom code, you have to comment that commit work and then you can reutilize that code. But if you have here, we don't have any commit work, so I can use this code as well. So commit work, as soon as you see any part of your code, you can't reutilize and wrap. That is very important thing. If I go to the create method again, you can see global class is here, and let me go to the create method, and I want to see if somewhere else they are utilizing this code or not. If I do Ctrl+Shift+Z, it will give me the where used list. Let me select all if they are utilizing in some program, data definition or somewhere else, and I will click on next button and finish button. It will open one search. So they are utilizing this particular create travel in one of the class CL flight legacy. It is the same class which we are in, and apart from that they are utilizing in this demo flight travel API. So basically, if I see this one, and this is this particular function group, now go a little bit down in the function module, what all are the function modules are available in this particular function group, I can see there are multiple function modules. Out of that, one is the travel create, travel delete, travel initialize, read, save, set booking, travel update, and adjust number as well. If I see the create travel one, so basically this, if I read this function module description, it is created for the creating the travel along with the booking and booking supplement. So this is the, ultimately inside this they are calling this particular class demo CL flight legacy. They're getting the instance and creating the travel based on the travel data. If I see what is the type, obviously if you see the type, that is the travel demo travel in, and for booking also we have the demo T underscore booking in. Let me open s underscore travel in. This is the same type which we have seen initially, that's having travel key and travel data, because they want to utilize that one. So basically in this form we have to send the data. But my requirement is that I want to update the travel booking and booking table, booking supplement table. I have already created read-only application for the unmanaged scenario. I just want to show you, because I don't want to again waste the time, or I don't want to repetitively explain the same thing which we have done in the read and travel. That is the reason we have already created our base view, base business object, we can see. If you open this core data definition, or let me open the other also. So in this one we have already GI travel take you, which I have created. Let me open this one. Basically my requirement is that I want to update the data in this demo travel, demo booking, and demo booking supplement table. In these three tables I want to update the data. But this function module, if I see if it is accepting, if I do F2 over here, it is accepting the two includes are there. I think all the fields, travel ID, agency ID, customer ID, begin date, end date, booking fee, total price, currency code, and these all are the fields it is accepting as part of this particular travel in. Did this function called somewhere else? Ctrl+Shift+Z. Okay, it might be called, but I want to use this particular API. I want to pass this data. So what data I want? In this case, travel ID, agency ID, this data, but this structure. And if I see my demo travel table, where I have to update the data, this is basically this table. Let me open both parallelly. If I can open, let me show you guys, because this kind of analysis is always needed when we use the existing code. Based on this particular function module which we want to utilize, we have to create our data model. So that is the very important thing. Data model, most of the guys, when we create the real-time application, we will face the real issue during the creation of the data model. That is real thing, because we don't have that much expertise to create the data model, because what kind of fields we have to choose, what tables we have to update, or in kind of read scenario also we have to create the data model. In real time, I want to update this table and I want to read the data from this table. Might be some of the fields or might be all the fields. I can see this is the travel ID table and it is having some travel data, demo travel data. Inside this demo travel data, this is the structure which is having, these are the fields, and we have another structure called demo travel admin, created by, created at, last change by, and last change at. This is the demo travel table. But if I see this demo travel in, let me open this one, control click, let me do, it is having two include structure. One is the travel key and travel data. The travel data, they are utilizing the same travel data, I can reutilize, but they have the travel key, basically they have the travel ID which we already have in part of that, but they don't have any admin field as part of this particular handling. So that means admin field we have to handle if we are going to utilize this particular, if I'm going to update this demo travel, I have to update admin field my own, then this data will be updated by the application. I don't have any problem, because my function module, which is this function module, which importing parameter is the demo travel in, I can see all the fields are available, including the travel ID as well. I can see the travel ID as well. If I open this one, so travel ID field also there, which is part of the travel key, and the data also there. So I have travel ID field separately and data. So same thing I want to do here. In this case, it's a very pretty straightforward, as I can see, but it might be in your case all the fields are not available, some of the fields are available, or you will be not, you want to apply some custom fields also there which you want to update. In that case, if you're using the standard BAPs, you have to might be do some enhancement for that. There are a lot of things can happen, but basic idea that you have to see whatever you are going to update through this function module, this particular interface of your particular, I want to utilize this particular function module. In this particular interface, based on this interface, I have to create the, not based on this exactly, I have to create the based on this demo tables or base table which I want to read and update. Based on that, I want to create my data model, and I have to map this data, this particular table data, to this particular function module when I call this particular function module from my create, update and delete methods, because this time this create, update and delete I have to develop myself. The framework will not gonna do. I am able to map, do I have all the tables in this field which I can map directly, or I have to connect this table with some other table and create my data model based on that. Then I will get all the fields that I have to think it out, and I have to create based on that my base data model. So that's a very important thing. But this is, in this case, it was very straightforward. We already created data model in many scenario. So that is the reason I'm not gonna create again from scratch. So we have, that is the reason I have already created the GI travel Techem. So let me close this all other things, close all. So in this, I have this demo travel table because I want to utilize each and every field. Suppose apart from this, I want to utilize some other fields also. I have to join that particular demo table with other fields also, and I have to reutilize those. I have to write those all the fields one by one here. And for the value help and other purposes, I have used the I have did the association with the agency, customer, currency and travel status. As I told you, we have to do this all the things because we want to get the value help from them, or we want to based on this we want to check our data as well. Those all the things we want to do. So that is the reason we have created this data model. This I have explained in my theory part as well. So based on that, I did the composition between the travel and booking, because this is the result, we can say this is the result relationship, and for others this is the normal relationship. That is the reason we created the association. So this I have explained in my manage scenario as well. Same way we created GI booking table TechM as well. And so we have composition of this particular child, and here we have write the association to parent as we did in our read-only application also and manage application also. So on top of these two, we created the consumption view also, ZC travel U. On top of the GI travel U, I created the ZC travel tech U. And we have given the provider contract transactional query. I already explained the provider contract in my read-only scenario. You can go through that. And we have given all the fields from this particular table with the different name, or we can say we have used here alias, and we have used as those names, so that will be understandable by the front-end guy. Even we have in back-end technical name, but in the form of the front-end guy, easily they can understand. That is the reason we have changed here alias name. Not only that, we have given some of the non-UI annotation in the my consumption view for the value help, for the text elements, and these all things I have explained. These all the things I have explained in my read only and manage scenario. On top of this GC travel, I made this metadata extension true. I created the ZC travel tech U, where I have defined the UI annotation. I created the two facet in my object page, one for the travel detail, one for the booking list, which I already explained in the manage and read only scenario. You can go through that thing, and this code also I will put on the GitHub link, which is available for the manage scenario as well, and this I am going to place in the GitHub link also, so you can also directly reutilize this code. The same way for the booking also we did, and for the booking detail we created one another facet. And for this consumption view, we created the behavior definition and the behavior this service definition and service binding. Sorry, behavior definition yet to create. That is the unmanaged thing which we will gonna learn. That is the reason I didn't create it. So service definition, you can see I have created. I utilize this both my consumption view. Apart from that, whatever these all other fields which we are gonna utilize as form of the F4 help, that already I have given. And we created the service binding as well. In the service binding, we created the V2 service version. We have used the OData version 2. And let me preview my application, how it looked like. If you preview the application, it's similar to your read-only application which we have created as part of the manage scenario, without any booking and bookings, without any editing functionality here. You click on go button, you can see the travel data. You can go the travel detail. We have the travel data and the booking detail and the booking detail in the object page as well. Let me come back. Suppose you came to this video without going to my previous videos, you landed here, you might be thinking why I am not explaining all the things. Obviously I have explained each and everything in my manage scenario. I will not gonna explain again the read and manage scenario, this all the things, because this is the read only application which we can create using the read only thing. We do from here, we take it from here and we do the unmanaged thing on top of this application. That we will do in my next video. Before going to that video, please like this video, share these videos with others as well. If you have some additional idea, if you feel some ideas I can cover in future RAP series, you can write it down in comment section. With that, thank you and happy learning.